Has your dog ever rested a paw on you and then simply looked into your eyes? Not for food, not because they wanted to play, not even because they wanted your attention. Just one quiet paw, resting on your arm, your leg, or even your chest. Most people think they know exactly what it means. It's just affection. They're asking for something. They've learned it gets my attention. But what if every one of those explanations is only scratching the surface? Because the truth is, your dog rarely places a paw on you by accident. Long before they make that tiny movement, something remarkable has already happened inside their mind. They've made a decision based on trust, memory, emotion, and a relationship that has been quietly growing every single day you've spent together. What's even more fascinating is this. The exact place your dog's paw lands may completely change what they're trying to tell you. A paw on your hand, a paw on your leg, a paw on your chest, or the one almost no one talks about, a paw that wakes you in the middle of the night. They may all look like the same behavior, but according to what scientists are discovering about canine behavior, they can carry completely different emotional meanings. And there's one version of this behavior that thousands of loving owners accidentally misunderstand every single day. Some even push their dog away, never realizing they may have just rejected one of the deepest expressions of trust their dog is capable of giving. By the end of this video, you'll never look at that gentle paw the same way again. Because once you understand what your dog is truly saying in those silent moments, you may realize they've been trying to tell you something important for years. Number. Part 1. Your dog chooses the paw before they ever touch you. Most people believe a dog places a paw on them because they want something. Food, volk, attention. And sometimes, that's true. But if you watch closely, you'll notice something fascinating. Your dog has dozens of faster, louder ways to get your attention. They can bark, whine, nudge your hand with their nose, bring you a toy, stand in front of you, or simply stare until you finally look back. Yet many dogs don't choose any of those. Instead, they quietly lift one paw and wait. That tiny pause tells us something important. Animal behavior. Researchers often describe gentle physical contact as one of the most controlled forms of canine communication. Unlike barking or jumping, it requires a dog to remain calm instead of becoming more excited. In other words, your dog isn't choosing the behavior that gets the quickest reaction. They're choosing the behavior they believe will work specifically with you. Think about that for a moment. Before their paw ever reaches your arm, they've already made a silent decision. I don't need to shout. I don't need to demand. I believe this person will notice the quiet version. That belief doesn't appear overnight. It's built through hundreds of ordinary moments. Every time you responded calmly, every time you noticed them before they had to bark, every time you made them feel heard without forcing them to beg. So perhaps the paw isn't simply asking for your attention. Perhaps it's revealing something much more valuable. Your dog has already decided that you're someone worth trusting with their quietest voice. Number. Part 2. The place your dog chooses changes everything. At first glance, every paw touch looks exactly the same. A gentle paw resting on your arm, your leg, your shoulder, or sometimes, without warning, right over your chest. Most owners see them all as one behavior, but your dog doesn't. Because in the canine world, where physical contact carries enormous emotional meaning, the place they choose to touch can completely change the message they're trying to send. Imagine you're sitting on the couch after a long day. Your dog walks over and places a paw on your hand. Not pushing, not scratching, just resting there for a few quiet seconds. That simple gesture often appears when a dog wants to reconnect. They're not demanding anything immediately. Instead, they're checking whether your attention is still available. It's the canine version of saying, "Are we still connected?" Now picture a different moment. A strange noise comes from outside. Perhaps someone walks past the window. Your dog quietly presses a paw against your leg. Notice the difference. They're no longer reaching for your attention. They're reaching for your presence. Behavior specialists often describe this as social reassurance. Rather than facing uncertainty alone, dogs instinctively seek contact with the individual they trust most. Your calm body becomes information. If you're relaxed, their nervous system begins to settle as well. But perhaps the most remarkable moment is when your dog gently rests a paw on your chest, right above your heartbeat. Scientists studying the human-dog bond have found that calm physical contact can influence both human and canine physiology. During relaxed interactions, heart rhythms, breathing patterns, and stress levels often begin to synchronize. While your dog isn't consciously thinking about your heartbeat, evolution has taught them that being close to it often means safety. And that's why this small gesture is so easy to underestimate. To us, it's only a paw. To your dog, it's a destination, the place where fear becomes calmer, uncertainty becomes manageable, and the person they trust most is close enough to remind them that everything is going to be okay. But all of this raises an even bigger question. How did a simple touch become so deeply connected to feelings of comfort and security in the first place? The answer begins long before your dog ever knew your name. Number Part 3. Long before your dog learned your name, they learned the meaning of a gentle paw. But why does a simple touch feel so powerful to your dog? The answer may begin much earlier than most people realize. Long before your dog learned their name, long before they recognized your voice or understood the routines of your home, they experienced the world almost entirely through touch. Newborn puppies are born blind and deaf. During their first days of life, physical contact is their primary way of finding warmth, security, and nourishment. As they nurse, they instinctively press their tiny paws against their mother's body. That rhythmic movement helps stimulate milk flow, but it also becomes part of a much larger emotional learning process. Every feeding pairs gentle pressure with comfort, warmth, safety, protection. Again and again, the developing brain begins linking physical contact with survival itself. As puppies mature, they no longer need their mother's milk. But the emotional pathways established during those earliest weeks don't simply disappear. Modern studies on canine attachment suggest that affectionate physical interaction with a trusted human can activate many of the same calming biological systems involved in early bonding. One of the best known is oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone. Both dogs and humans have been shown to experience increases in oxytocin during relaxed, positive interactions such as gentle touch, petting, and mutual gaze. That doesn't mean your dog mistakes you for their mother. It means your relationship has become something just as emotionally significant. Over time, your presence becomes associated with the same feelings every social mammal searches for throughout life. Safety, predictability, comfort. Perhaps that's why so many dogs instinctively reach out with a quiet paw during peaceful moments. Not because they've been trained to, not because they're trying to manipulate you, but because somewhere deep within their nervous system, gentle contact has always meant, I'm close to someone who helps me feel safe. And what makes that even more remarkable is this. Sometimes your dog reaches for you, not because they need reassurance from you, but because they believe you might need reassurance from them. Number Part 4. Sometimes your dog isn't asking for comfort, they're trying to give it. Now here's where this behavior becomes even more extraordinary. Think back to the last time your dog placed a paw on you for no obvious reason. You weren't holding food. You weren't getting ready for a walk. Nothing unusual seemed to be happening, and yet, they quietly reached out anyway. Most people assume their dog simply wanted attention. But what if your dog wasn't responding to something they were feeling? What if they were responding to something you were feeling? Over the past decade, researchers have discovered that dogs are remarkably sensitive to subtle changes in human emotion. Studies have shown they can detect shifts in body language, facial expression, vocal tone, and even changes in human scent associated with stress. Some experiments have found that dogs can distinguish samples collected during stressful moments from those collected during calm conditions, relying only on their sense of smell. That means your dog may notice tension long before you consciously recognize it yourself. Perhaps your breathing has become slightly shallower. Your shoulders are tighter than usual. You've fallen unusually quiet after a difficult phone call. To another person, those signals might pass unnoticed. To your dog, they can be impossible to ignore. Of course, your dog doesn't understand deadlines, family worries, or difficult conversations. They don't know why you're stressed, but they often recognize that something about you has changed. And because they can't ask, "Are you okay?" they communicate in the only language they truly have. A quiet paw. A soft chaser, a body that chooses to stay close instead of walking away. Many owners describe moments when their dog suddenly rested a paw on them during periods of sadness or anxiety, even though nothing visible seemed different. While every situation is unique, stories like these reflect something science continues to explore: the remarkable ability of dogs to notice subtle emotional changes in the people they know best. So the next time your dog reaches out during one of those silent evenings, pause before assuming they want something from you. Perhaps they're offering the only kind of comfort they know how to give. And in the next part, we'll explore the one moment when this gentle gesture becomes even more powerful, when your dog reaches for you in the middle of the night, while the entire house is asleep. Number. Part 5. The paw that wakes you at night may mean more than you ever imagined. Now let's talk about the one situation that surprises almost every dog owner. It's the middle of the night. The house is completely silent. Everyone is asleep. Then suddenly, you feel it. A gentle paw resting on your arm. Perhaps it touches your shoulder. Maybe it reaches your chest. Or it lightly taps your face until you finally open your eyes. Your first thought is probably the same as most people. They need to go outside. They're hungry. They're asking for attention. And sometimes, that's exactly what's happening. But not always. If you've lived with the same dog for years, you've probably noticed something interesting. Many dogs spend part of the night quietly monitoring the people they are most attached to. They become familiar with the rhythm of your breathing, the sound of your movements, even the routine patterns of your sleep. To them, these patterns become part of what normal looks like. When something changes unexpectedly, many dogs investigate. They don't understand sleep cycles. They don't know what dreaming is. They certainly don't understand medical conditions, but they are exceptionally good at recognizing that something feels different. Scientists have documented countless examples of dogs responding to subtle physiological changes in humans. Some dogs naturally notice unusual breathing, altered movement, or changes in scent. Others have even been trained to alert people before seizures, dangerous drops in blood glucose, or other medical events because of their extraordinary sensory abilities. That doesn't mean every nighttime paw is predicting a medical emergency. Far from it. More often, it's something much simpler. Your dog is checking on the person who matters most to them. Think about that. While the rest of the world is asleep, your dog pauses their own rest to make sure you're still there, to see you breathe, to watch you move, to receive the smallest sign that everything is okay. And perhaps that's what makes this moment so touching. They're not protecting the house. They're checking on you, the one individual whose presence has become the center of their emotional world. So the next time that gentle paw wakes you before sunrise, don't rush to assume it's an inconvenience. Open your eyes. Look at them for just a moment. You may discover they weren't asking for reassurance at all. They were searching for theirs. Because sometimes, all your dog needs to see is that you're still here. And yet, there is one final mystery. Why do some dogs keep pressing their paw again and again, even after we've already noticed them? Is it stubbornness? Or is it something completely different? Number. Part 6. When your dog keeps reaching out. They're not being demanding. Have you ever noticed what happens if you don't respond the first time? Your dog places a paw on your arm. You keep looking at your phone. A few seconds later, they do it again. This time, the touch is a little firmer. Many owners stop the behavior right there. Don't beg. Stop bothering me. But what if that's not what your dog is doing at all? In animal communication, behaviors often follow a simple pattern. A quiet signal comes first. Only if that signal goes unnoticed does the animal increase its effort to be understood. Dogs do this with barking, with whining, with body language. And yes, they do it with their paws. The first touch, the second, isn't necessarily more demanding. It's simply more noticeable. Imagine trying to get someone's attention by softly saying their name. They don't hear you, so you repeat it a little louder. You're not becoming impatient. You're making sure the message arrives. Your dog may be doing something very similar. They tried the calm approach because they believed you would notice. When nothing happened, they didn't immediately give up. They tried once more, not because they wanted to annoy you, but because, in their mind, The conversation wasn't finished yet. Perhaps they wanted to reconnect. Perhaps they felt uncertain. Perhaps they noticed something about you. Or perhaps they simply wanted to know that the person they trust was still emotionally present. That is why one small change can make such a difference. The next time your dog places a paw on you, pause for just 10 seconds. Put your phone down. Look into their eyes. Speak softly. Rest your hand on theirs. You'll often notice something remarkable. Their body relaxes. Their breathing slows. The paw quietly slips away. Not because they finally got what they wanted, but because they received what they were looking for all along, your presence. And maybe that's the most beautiful lesson hidden inside this tiny gesture. Your dog isn't measuring how expensive their toys are, or how many treats you give them each day. They're paying attention to something much simpler, whether the person they quietly reached out to reached back. Because in the end, the deepest conversations between dogs and humans have never depended on words. Sometimes, they begin with nothing more than a single paw placed gently in your hand. If there's only one thing you remember from today's video, let it be this. When your dog places a paw on you, they're rarely thinking about the gesture itself. They're thinking about the relationship behind it. Every quiet touch carries a history. Thousands of shared moments. Walks you've taken together. Times you came home. Times you comforted them when they were afraid. And all the ordinary days that slowly taught them one simple truth. This person is my safe place. The next time you feel that gentle paw resting on your hand, don't rush past it. Pause for a moment. Look into their eyes. Let them know their message has been heard. Because one day, you'll realize those quiet little moments were never ordinary at all. They were the language of a heart that trusted you completely. If your dog has ever placed a paw on you like this, I'd love to hear your story. Tell us in the comments. Where does your dog usually place their paw? Your hand? Your leg? Or your chest? And if this video helped you understand your dog a little better, take a second to subscribe to the channel. Every week, we explore the hidden science, fascinating psychology, and silent language behind the behaviors our dogs use every single day. Until next time, give your dog an extra moment of your attention today. It may be the most meaningful conversation the two of you ever have.